Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're taking a deep dive into the murky, often brutal waters of some of history's longest wars. We're talking about conflicts that spanned generations, reshaped maps, and left an indelible mark on the world as we know it. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey through time to explore the intricate tapestry of these epic struggles for power, land, and ideology. Don't forget to support us by liking, commenting, and subscribing. All right, let's kick things off with a war that needs no introduction, despite its somewhat misleading name, the 100 Years' War. Now, I say misleading because, spoiler alert, it actually lasted for 116 years. From 1337 to 1453, England and France were locked in a brutal struggle for dominance, fueled by complex claims to the French throne, economic rivalries, and good old-fashioned medieval grudges. This wasn't just some border skirmish, folks. We're talking about a conflict that encompassed massive battles like Crécy, Poitiers, and Agincourt, where English longbowmen wreaked havoc on French knights. It saw the rise of legendary figures like Joan of Arc, a young peasant woman who became a national heroine of France for her role in leading the French army to victory. But the 100 Years' War wasn't just about clashing swords and valiant charges. It was a period of immense social, political, and economic upheaval for both England and France. The Black Death, a devastating pandemic, ripped through Europe in the middle of the war, further adding to the chaos and misery. Imagine for a moment living during this time. Your world is constantly at war, your king is demanding ever-increasing taxes, and a mysterious plague is sweeping across the land, leaving death and devastation in its wake. It's hard to fathom the resilience of the people who endured this tumultuous period. Yet, amidst the darkness, glimmers of change were emerging. The war spurred technological innovations in warfare, like the aforementioned longbow, which would forever alter the face of European battlefields. It also sowed the seeds of national identity, as both the English and French began to see themselves as distinct entities united against a common enemy. In the end, France emerged victorious, reclaiming much of the territory it had lost to the English. But the 100 Years' War left an enduring legacy, shaping the destinies of both nations and leaving behind a tapestry woven with tales of bravery, brutality, and the enduring spirit of humanity in the face of unimaginable hardship. Next up, we travel to the heart of Europe, where a small but determined region found itself embroiled in a decades-long struggle for independence. This, my friends, is the story of the 80 Years' War, a fight for freedom and identity that pitted the Dutch Low Countries against the mighty Spanish Habsburg Empire. Now, you might be thinking, 80 years? That's a really long time to fight a war. And you'd be right. But this wasn't just about territory or political power. It was about religious freedom, economic autonomy, and the right of a people to determine their own destiny. The conflict erupted in 1568, fueled by growing tensions between the Protestant Dutch population and their Catholic Habsburg rulers. The Dutch, led by William of Orange, known as William the Silent, rose up against Spanish rule, igniting a rebellion that would consume the region for generations. What followed was a brutal back and forth, a seesaw of sieges, naval battles, and political intrigue. The Spanish, under the command of ruthless generals like the Duke of Alva, unleashed a reign of terror, attempting to crush the Dutch rebellion with overwhelming force. But the Dutch, despite being outmatched and outgunned, proved to be a tenacious foe. They utilized guerrilla tactics, exploited their knowledge of the low-lying terrain, and even opened dikes, flooding the countryside to halt the Spanish advance. The war wasn't just fought on land and sea, however. It also played out in the realm of ideas and propaganda. The Dutch, masters of printmaking, produced a flood of pamphlets and engravings that depicted the Spanish as tyrannical oppressors and rallied support for their cause. And let's not forget the economic dimension of this conflict. The Dutch, with their flourishing trade networks and innovative financial systems, were able to bankroll their war effort, proving that money, as they say, talks even in the midst of a revolution. The 80 Years' War finally came to an end in 1648 with the Peace of Westphalia, a treaty that recognized the independence of the Dutch Republic. It was a hard-fought victory, one that came at a tremendous cost in lives and resources. But from the ashes of this conflict emerged a new nation, a beacon of tolerance and prosperity, known for its artistic achievements, its seafaring prowess, and its unwavering commitment to liberty. The 80 Years' War serves as a testament to the power of human resilience, the enduring allure of freedom, and the enduring legacy of those who dare to challenge the status quo. Chapter 3. The 30 Years' War. A continent engulfed in chaos. Hold on to your hats, folks, because things are about to get really messy as we delve into the chaotic cauldron of the 30 Years' War. This wasn't just another war, it was a complex, multifaceted conflict that engulfed much of Europe in a maelstrom of violence, religious strife, and political intrigue. From 1618 to 1648, the Holy Roman Empire, a sprawling patchwork of states and principalities, became the battleground for a clash of titans. Catholic powers, led by the Habsburg emperors, squared off against Protestant forces, backed by nations like Sweden, Denmark, and France. Imagine a tangled web of alliances, shifting loyalties, and competing ambitions, all fueled by religious fervor and a healthy dose of power politics. That's the 30 Years' War in a nutshell. The conflict erupted in Bohemia, a region within the Holy Roman Empire, with the defenestration of Prague, an event as dramatic as its name suggests. Catholic officials were thrown out of a window by angry Protestants, sparking a chain reaction that would set the continent ablaze. What followed was 3 decades of unimaginable brutality and destruction. Armies marched back and forth, pillaging the countryside, besieging cities, and leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. It's estimated that up to 8 million people, a staggering number for the time, perished during this conflict. The 30 Years' War wasn't just about religion, though. It was also about power, territory, and the struggle for dominance in Europe. France, a Catholic nation, even allied itself with Protestant states against the Habsburgs, demonstrating that realpolitik often trumps religious solidarity when it comes to matters of state. One of the key figures to emerge from this conflict was Gustavus Adolphus, the King of Sweden. A brilliant military strategist and a devout Lutheran, Adolphus led his armies to victory against the Catholic forces, becoming a Protestant hero in the process. But Adolphus's triumphs were short-lived. He was killed in battle in 1632, leaving a void in the Protestant leadership and adding another layer of complexity to an already convoluted conflict. The 30 Years' War finally sputtered to an end in 1648 with the Peace of Westphalia, a series of treaties that redrew the map of Europe and ushered in a new era of international relations. It's no exaggeration to say that this war fundamentally reshaped the political landscape of the continent, leaving an indelible mark on the course of European history. Chapter 4. The War of the Spanish Succession, a Game of Thrones, 18th century style. Get ready for some royal rumble, folks, because we're about to dive into the world of courtly intrigue, dynastic disputes, and grand alliances with the War of the Spanish Succession. This wasn't just another war, it was a struggle for the very soul of an empire, a clash of titans that would determine the fate of Spain and its vast colonial possessions. Picture this, it's the year 1700 and the King of Spain, Charles II, is a sickly man, the last Habsburg ruler of Spain. He's childless and the vultures are circling, eager to get their talons on the Spanish throne. Enter the main contenders, Louis XIV of France, the Sun King himself, and Leopold I, the Holy Roman Emperor. Both had strong claims to the Spanish throne, and neither was willing to back down without a fight. When Charles II died, he left his throne to Louis XIV's grandson, Philip of Anjou. This, my friends, was like lighting a match next to a powder keg. Alliances crumbled, declarations of war flew faster than a courier pigeon, and Europe was plunged into another bloody conflict. On one side, we had France and Spain, allied against a grand coalition that included England, the Dutch Republic, Austria, and several German states. It was a clash of ideologies, a battle for the balance of power in Europe. The War of the Spanish Succession wasn't just some stuffy European affair, though. It spilled over into North America, where it became known as Queen Anne's War, pitting British colonists against their French counterparts. Back in Europe, the war raged on for over a decade, a whirlwind of sieges, naval battles, and daring cavalry charges. Names like Marlborough, Eugene of Savoy, and Vendôme became synonymous with military brilliance and tactical cunning. One of the most famous battles of the war took place in 1709 at Malplaquet, a bloody clash that saw over 30,000 casualties in a single day of fighting. It was a Pyrrhic victory for the Allies, a testament to the brutal nature of 18th century warfare. Finally, in 1713, the Treaty of Utrecht brought the war to an end. It was a compromise, a recognition that no single power could achieve total victory. Philip of Anjou remained King of Spain, but the Spanish Netherlands were ceded to Austria, and England gained control of Gibraltar and Minorca. The War of the Spanish Succession may not have been the longest war in history, but it was undoubtedly one of the most significant. It marked the end of French hegemony in Europe, ushered in a new era of British naval dominance, and had a profound impact on the balance of power for decades to come. Chapter 5. The Napoleonic Wars. The rise and fall of an emperor. Fasten your seatbelts, history buffs, because we're about to embark on a whirlwind tour of one of the most tumultuous periods in European history, the Napoleonic Wars. This wasn't just another war, it was a clash of ideologies, a battle for the soul of Europe, and the stage for the meteoric rise and dramatic fall of one of history's most iconic figures, Napoleon Bonaparte. Imagine, if you will, the late 18th century. The French Revolution has just upended the established order, sending shockwaves across Europe. From the ashes of this revolution emerges a young, ambitious general, Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who would go on to conquer much of Europe and leave an indelible mark on the course of history. The Napoleonic Wars were a series of conflicts, a tangled web of alliances, betrayals, and battlefield triumphs that pitted France, led by Napoleon, against a shifting coalition of European powers, including Great Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia. Napoleon, a master strategist and a charismatic leader, modernized warfare, introducing new tactics, logistics, and organizational structures. His armies, known as the Grande Armée, swept across Europe, winning victory after victory and spreading the ideals of the French Revolution in their wake. From the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, a masterpiece of tactical brilliance, to the Battle of Jena Auerstedt in 1806, where Napoleon crushed the Prussian army, the French seemed unstoppable. Napoleon's star was rising, and Europe trembled before him. But Napoleon's ambition would prove to be his undoing. His invasion of Russia in 1812, a disastrous campaign that decimated the Grande Armée, marked a turning point in the Napoleonic Wars. The Russian winter, a formidable foe in its own right, coupled with the scorched earth tactics employed by the Russian army, proved to be Napoleon's downfall. Weakened and defeated, Napoleon was forced to abdicate in 1814 and was exiled to the island of Elba, but the emperor wasn't finished yet. In 1815 he escaped Elba, returned to France and raised a new army, setting the stage for one final confrontation. The Battle of Waterloo, fought on June 18, 1815, was Napoleon's last stand. Facing a combined British and Prussian army led by the Duke of Wellington and Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher, Napoleon's forces were defeated in a bloody battle that marked the end of his reign and the Napoleonic Wars. The Napoleonic Wars may have ended in Napoleon's defeat, but their impact on Europe was profound. They shattered old empires, redrew the map of Europe, and spread the ideals of the French Revolution, leaving an indelible mark on the course of history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more historical content. See you next time.